Bart Simpson gets away with everything. Pranks, chaos, destruction. It's all just comedy, right? Wrong. There are episodes where the laughter stops and something way darker takes over. Moments where you realize this isn't just some cartoon troublemaker. It's a kid dealing with real pain that nobody talks about. We're diving into the times Bart actually made you feel something. The shoplifting incident that destroyed his relationship with Marge. The night he genuinely believed he'd lost his soul. The breakdown when trying his hardest still wasn't enough. These aren't funny moments. They're the ones that stuck with you long after the credits rolled. Picture this: Christmas season in Springfield. And there's one thing Bart wants more than anything: the Bone Storm video game. Every kid at school has it. Milhouse won't stop bragging about it. But when Bart begs Marge to buy it, she shuts him down hard. $70 is too much. It's too violent, and it'll mess with his grades. Bart's desperate. He tries everything, but nothing works. Then comes the moment that changes everything. He's at the Try and Save store, staring at that game through the display case. His so-called friends Jimbo and Nelson are shoplifting right in front of him, showing off their stolen goods like trophies.
Are you guys shoplifting?
Four-finger discount, dude.
The peer pressure builds. One impulsive decision later, Bart stuffs the game under his jacket and walks toward the exit. He doesn't make it. Security guard Don Brodka grabs him before he even hits the parking lot. The guy drags Bart to a back room, threatens him with juvenile hall, and makes that phone call to the Simpson house. Bart races home, switches out the answering machine tape, and thinks he's in the clear. But life has other plans. The family decides to go to Try and Save for their annual Christmas photo.
Try and Save? Ah, my teapots are ready.
Bart's sweating bullets the entire time, trying to hide, trying to disappear. Right as the photographer snaps the picture, Brodka yanks Bart out of frame. The whole family watches the security footage. There's Bart, clear as day, stealing that game. But here's where it gets brutal. Marge doesn't yell. She doesn't scream. She just goes quiet, cold, distant. That's so much worse. Homer's mad, sure, but Marge's disappointment cuts deeper than any punishment could. She starts treating Bart differently. No marshmallows in his hot cocoa, because she thinks he wants to be treated like an adult now. No warmth in her voice. She barely looks at him. Bart realizes he didn't just break a rule. He broke his mother's heart. The kid who never cares about consequences suddenly cares more than anything. He sneaks back to the store. He uses his own money to get a photo of just himself to complete the Christmas photo and gives it to Marge as a Christmas gift. It's the most genuine thing he's ever done, and you can see it destroyed him to get there. That's not a troublemaker. That's a kid who finally understood what he'd lost. You'd think after the shoplifting incident, Bart would learn his lesson about doing dumb things. But this is Bart we're talking about. After pulling off a prank at church that involved swapping hymns with an Iron Butterfly rock song, Bart and Milhouse get busted. While cleaning the church organ as punishment, Milhouse starts going on about souls and how crows will peck at his forever if he sinned. Bart, being Bart, laughs it off.
There's no such thing as a soul. It's just something they made up to scare kids, like the Boogeyman or Michael Jackson.
So when Milhouse offers to buy Bart's soul for $5, Bart doesn't hesitate. He writes Bart Simpson's soul on a piece of paper, hands it over, and pockets the cash. Easy money, right? Wrong. Things start getting weird immediately. Santa's little helper, the family dog who usually loves Bart, starts growling and backing away from him. The automatic doors at the Quickie Mart won't open when Bart walks up to them, but they work fine for Rod and Todd Flanders. When Bart blows on the freezer glass, no fog appears. His breath doesn't show. Then comes the nightmare. Bart dreams he's in this empty playground where every kid in Springfield has a soul to play with. They're laughing, playing, riding swings together. Then all the kids and their souls get into these little boats and row toward this beautiful amusement park in the distance. Bart tries to follow, but his boat won't move. He's stuck, alone, watching everyone else drift away while he sits there by himself in the dark. He wakes up terrified. This isn't funny anymore. Bart tries to buy his soul back from Milhouse, but now Milhouse wants $50. Bart doesn't have that kind of money. Turns out Milhouse already traded it anyway to Comic Book Guy for some Alf Pogs.
You traded my soul for Pogs?
Bart rushes to the android's dungeon, but Comic Book Guy already sold it to someone else and won't say who. It's gone. Bart walks home in the rain, completely defeated. That night he does something he never does. He prays. Not some snarky joking prayer either. A real one. He tells God he's scared and just wants his soul back. And then from above, a piece of paper floats down. It's his soul. Lisa bought it back for him. She'd been watching her brother fall apart and couldn't take it anymore. Bart doesn't make a joke. He doesn't brush it off. He just hugs the paper to his chest and cries. For a kid who never shows vulnerability, watching him genuinely believe he'd lost something irreplaceable hit harder than any punchline ever could. Thanksgiving at the Simpson house is always chaotic. But one year it went completely off the rails. Lisa spent hours, minors, maybe days, working on this centerpiece for the dinner table. It was her tribute to trailblazing women in history, complete with little figures and decorations. She put her whole heart into it. Then Bart brings out the turkey, and there's no room on the table. He tells Lisa to move her centerpiece because the turkey needs valuable real estate. Lisa refuses. They start fighting over it, pulling it back and forth, and in the chaos, Bart throws the whole thing into the fireplace. It goes up in flames instantly. Lisa runs to her room sobbing. Homer and Marge send Bart upstairs without dinner.
I hope you're happy, Bart. You ruined Thanksgiving.
Bart, being stubborn as hell, refuses to apologize. He doesn't think he did anything wrong, so he climbs out his window and runs away from home, taking Santa's little helper with him. It's Thanksgiving night, and Bart's wandering the cold streets of Springfield alone. He tries to steal a pie from Mr. Burns's mansion, but the guard dogs chase him off, and then he sells his blood just to get some food. Eventually, he ends up at a homeless shelter where they're serving Thanksgiving dinner. A news crew interviews him, and Bart still won't admit he was wrong.
Son, your family may be watching. Is there anything you'd like to say to them?
Yes, there is, Kent. Ha, I didn't apologize.
Oh, no.
But something shifts when he's there. He sees people who have nothing, kids who don't have families waiting at home. Bart realizes he has everything, and he threw it away over pride. He starts walking home, but stops outside his house. He imagines going inside, and everyone surrounding him, pointing fingers, blaming him for everything wrong in the world. So he doesn't go in. Instead, he climbs onto the roof. Up there, surrounded by old toys and forgotten memories, Bart hears Lisa crying through the ventilation system. She's in her room writing in her diary about how she misses him, and maybe it was her fault. Bart calls her up to the roof. They talk. Lisa asks him why he burned her centerpiece, and Bart breaks down. He doesn't know why he did it. He doesn't know why he enjoyed it in the moment, and he doesn't know why he'll probably do something like it again. But when Lisa asks him to look deep inside himself and find the part that feels bad about hurting his sister, Bart finally does. He apologizes. For real, not some sarcastic Bart apology, a genuine one. And Lisa kisses his cheek and hugs him. That's the Bart people forget about. The kid who can't always explain why he does the things he does, but feels terrible when he realizes the damage. Here's one that broke a lot of hearts. Bart's never been a great student, but in the episode Bart gets an F. Things hit rock bottom. He fails test after test, and his teacher Mrs. Crabapple gives him an ultimatum: pass the next history exam or repeat 4th grade. That threat should scare any kid straight, right? But Bart's never really tried before, so he doesn't even know where to start. He fakes being sick to avoid the test. He tries to get answers from Milhouse. Nothing works. The school counselor tells Homer and Marge that Bart's a slacker with no future. Bart finally realizes he's out of options. He makes a deal with Martin Prince, the class nerd. Martin will teach Bart how to study, and Bart will teach Martin how to be cool. It works at first, but then Martin gets too cool and ditches Bart right when he needs help most. Bart's on his own. He procrastinates by watching movies with Homer. He stares at his textbook but can't focus. The night before the test, Bart does something desperate. He prays. He tells God he's just a kid who needs help. He needs one more day to study. The next morning, Springfield wakes up buried in snow. School's canceled. Bart got his miracle. But instead of goofing off like he usually would, Bart actually studies. While everyone else is outside having snowball fights and building snowmen, Bart's inside hitting himself in the face to stay focused. He imagines the Continental Congress signing the Declaration of Independence, but then imagines it snowing in July and everyone running outside to play. He can't concentrate. He keeps slapping himself, trying to force his brain to work. Test day arrives. Bart takes it, and Mrs. Crabapple grades it immediately. 59%. An F. 1 point away from passing. And Bart completely breaks down. Not a funny cry. A real gut-wrenching breakdown. He tells Mrs. Crabapple he really tried this time. He actually studied. He did everything he could, and it still wasn't enough. Mrs. Crabapple doesn't know what to say. She's used to Bart failing, but she's not used to Bart caring. Then, in his grief, Bart makes a connection. He compares his failure to George Washington surrendering Fort Necessity to the French in 1754.
Oh, you know 1754, the famous defeat of the French.
My God, Bart, you're right.
It's this obscure historical reference that proves Bart actually learned something. Mrs. Crabapple gives him 1 extra point for applied knowledge, a D-. Barely passing, Bart runs through Springfield, announcing his success, kissing Mrs. Crabapple, crying tears of joy. He posts the test on the fridge and tells his parents that part of this D- belongs to God. This wasn't a funny episode. It was real. It showed that Bart's not lazy or dumb. He's struggling with something deeper, and even his hardest effort barely got him across the finish line. One of the most painful patterns in Bart's life is how often Homer just forgets about him. Not in a funny way, in a way that genuinely damages their relationship. The clearest example is in Brother from the Same Planet. Bart's at soccer practice, and it starts pouring rain. Homer's supposed to pick him up, but Homer's at home watching TV, completely zoned out. Hours pass. Bart sits there in the rain, alone, watching other kids get picked up by their parents. By the time Homer remembers and rushes over, Bart's completely soaked. Homer tries to brush it off with a sundae, but Bart's done. He's furious, and he has every right to be. So Bart does something drastic. He calls the bigger brother's agency and pretends he's an orphan. He claims his father was a drunken gambler who abandoned him. The agency pairs him up with Tom, this incredibly cool guy who's a military pilot, rides a motorcycle, and actually pays attention to Bart. They go to baseball games, lift weights, and watch cartoons together. Tom's everything Homer isn't: present, engaged, caring. Bart starts to feel guilty because he's not actually an orphan, but the attention feels so good that he keeps the lie going. When Homer finds out, he's hurt. But instead of trying to fix his relationship with Bart, Homer's first instinct is revenge.
And what are your reasons for wanting a little brother?
Don't say revenge. Don't say revenge. Revenge?
He joins the same program and gets paired with a poor kid named Peppy. Homer does it out of spite at first, but then he actually starts caring about Peppy when he sees how bad the kid's situation is. Everything comes to a head at Marine World on Bigger Brothers Day. Homer and Bart run into each other. Tom, who's heard all of Bart's exaggerated stories about Homer being a terrible father, asks his father, the drunken gambler. Homer cheerfully responds, "That's right." Tom punches him in the face. They brawl across Springfield, through a china shop, over fire hydrants. The whole deal. Homer fights dirty, distracting Tom by pointing out a troubled kid and sucker punching him when he looks. The fight ends with Homer bent over a fire hydrant, back broken. But here's the thing, Bart realizes through all this chaos that Homer cares enough to fight for him. Not in a healthy way, sure, but it's something. The episode ends with Bart suggesting Tom become Peppy's big brother instead, and Bart asking Homer to teach him how to fight. It's messed up, but it's their relationship. And you can see that Bart's been starving for Homer's attention his whole life. Every forgotten promise, every missed game, every time Homer chose TV over his son, it all built up to this moment where Bart literally had to find a replacement dad to get Homer to notice. For all the sibling rivalry between Bart and Lisa, there are these rare moments where Bart shows he actually cares. The most powerful one happens in The Secret War of Lisa Simpson. After Bart causes massive destruction with police megaphones, he gets sent to Rommelwood Military School. Lisa, fed up with Springfield Elementary's lazy curriculum, decides to enroll too. But there's a problem. She's the first female cadet in the school's history. The other cadets hate her for it. They haze her relentlessly. They make her life miserable. And Bart, who's finally fitting in and being accepted by his peers, has to make a choice: stand up for his sister and lose everything, or stay silent and let her suffer alone. For most of the school year, Bart distances himself, not because he doesn't care, but because he knows defending Lisa will make him a target too. He's caught between loyalty to his sister and the desperate need to belong somewhere. Lisa struggles through weapons training. She gets stuck on auto-fire mode and nearly shoots herself into the sky. The instructor hands her a whistle and tells her to blow it if there's a war and he'll come help. It's humiliating. She calls home, almost ready to quit, but she pushes through. The final test is called the Eliminator, a 150-foot hand-over-hand crawl across a rope suspended high above thorn bushes. If you fall, you're done. Lisa's terrified. She's never done anything like this before. The other cadets have been training for it all year. When it's Lisa's turn, she starts crossing. Halfway through, her hands are bleeding, her arms are shaking, and she's about to fall. That's when Bart breaks. He can't stay silent anymore. He runs forward and starts shouting encouragement to her. The other cadets immediately turn on him, telling him he's dead when this is over. But Bart doesn't care. He keeps yelling, keeps cheering, keeps being the big brother Lisa needed. And she makes it. She crosses that rope and collapses on the other side, exhausted but victorious. Later, the cadets tell Bart they're going to make his life hell for what he did. Then they leave to change for graduation, which is in 3 hours. It was all talk. But Bart didn't know that when he stepped up, he risked everything because his sister needed him. That's the Bart Simpson people forget exists. The kid who'll take on the world for family when it really matters. So what do you think was Bart's saddest moment? If you liked this video, hit that subscribe button. There's a lot more waiting for you on the channel.